Okay, so I'd like to ask a couple of questions on behalf of some of the people that asked some questions. So one of the comments that was made was about our adult school and the ESL teachers, or the teachers there that have worked for less money and they have grants and things like that, that the opinion was we should be able to save at least the ESL program at the adult school. What are our options here?
Currently with the ESL program at the adult school, we receive funding based on, they take a CASAS test. And with the CASAS test, we get points. So if we give them the test every 6 weeks and they show improvement in their English language development, we get points. So if they show this much growth, we get 1 point. If they show this much, we get 2 points, 3 points. So we get points, and that equates to funding for that program. With the funding that comes with that, it is direct services to students, similar to other programs we have that we have to provide direct services. So we cannot pay for any clerical out of that funding. We cannot pay for any administrative out of that funding, nor can we pay for any custodial out of that funding. So if we have a program over there, we essentially have no support to run the program because there will be nobody there to take the students to register them. We wouldn't have that type of funding to make it work because that only can pay for the direct services of the teachers to the students.
And so the grants and things that we receive can't provide any of that support.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. I wish it was a different answer. Some comments that were made earlier were regarding our nurses. We don't have a way to just keep some of the nurses, correct?
That's correct. We have a staffing formula that's in the collective bargaining agreement that we need to follow.
Okay, and since the collective bargaining, so our options are either keep the nurses, which would put us well into the red, cause us to have a negative response back on our budget to the county, and they would come in and do it anyway? Is that how that works? Or what's the option if we were to just say, oh, heck with it, we're going to keep all the nurses? What happens if we do that and then submit? Because I know we submitted two interim budgets that were qualified. This would probably make it a negative budget. What happens?
When the board submits a qualified budget report, the county basically puts us on a watch list. And the county will expect the board to make or to approve an action plan that will bring the budget back in line, whether that is through revenue generations or budget reductions. So the priorities are the board's. If you choose to keep the certain priorities, and you are obligated to find another program or other cuts to make in order to bring the budget in line.
And if we didn't do that?
If you didn't do that over time, we can wait to be taken over by the state.
Okay. And one of the other challenges we have, and it's unfortunate that we have this challenge, is that based on education code, we have to give notification to classified employees and certificated employees in different time frames, but we have to give notification to certificated employees in this case far in advance. Even if we were to come up with another solution, we're mandated certain dates to provide notification, and if things don't change, then we have to go through with it. We can't delay the decision. We can't delay the decision at all, as much as we would like to, whether it's nurses or counselors or music teachers and everybody else that's currently in jeopardy. While the classified timelines are shorter than the certificated timelines, the nurses are considered certified employees, and so they fall within the certificated bargaining agreements and the state mandated time frames that we have in order to do things. Because if we miss by even a day, then we can't take action until the next year, and that puts us in a significant bind. We can undo things much more easily, but we have to meet certain timelines in order to get things done, and then if things change, hopefully we can still find people to go fill the positions if we've had to lay them off. So I wanted to make sure you understood that if we could delay it, we would, whether it's, again, nurses, counselors, whatever. And then I'm going to make a comment now. I don't want to lay off a single nurse. I understand the risk. I understand the benefits of having them. I understand the challenges of sick kids and as we say, bee stings and all sorts of other things that happen. Counselors, we understand greatly the benefit of counselors. It's not that we don't like them, okay? It's not that we even just mildly think they're somewhat okay. We truly understand the benefit. All of us either have kids in the school system or have had kids in the school system. Mine went all the way through kindergarten through 12th. I personally understand the benefits of counselors. Again, we're in this same bind. We have timelines we have to meet. We have funding we have to meet. There was a comment made earlier about we should find a way to fix the problem. Well, when the rules are defined for us in how we have to budget and in how we have to project, we can't just say, as I was relating to Mrs. Chen, we can't just say, hey, we're not going to do it. It's not a specious argument or a specious reason for doing what we're doing. The fact is, we don't have the money. The fact is, we're required by law to balance the budget, and if we don't, the state will come in and they will balance it anyway, okay? So if I could find out how to generate $10 million a year over the next 2 years, that would be a great thing, because then we wouldn't have to be doing this. And if somebody believes that there is a different way to be meeting our budget requirements, I want to know where they were during all of the budget study sessions and during all of the board meetings where this has been discussed, where there's been plenty of opportunity to bring those ideas forward, submit them out in the open rather than making general comments. It's very easy to say you shouldn't do this, there must be a better way. It's a whole different thing to say, here's the better way, let me lay it out for you. That has not happened. And I wish it had. I wish there were another way, because I personally dislike doing this as much as I'm sure my colleagues do. Okay? There's none of us that like doing this. We're very unhappy at having to do this. As most of you know, I was laid off at the beginning of March. Okay? Now, I've gotten another job, so don't feel bad for me, not that you probably would have anyway. But I understand what is going through people's minds when we're doing this, okay? It's not done lightly, and it's not done because we don't like something. We all recognize in the music program, a young man stood up and said about the music program, listen, we have 3 nationally ranked high school music programs in one district. You're lucky to get one in a state. We have 3 in one district. They understand what's going on here. That's why we had all the budget study sessions. That's why we've been discussing this for months. That's why when we took this action in February, and by the way, I have gotten a lot of great suggestions for things that could be done to try to balance the budget. Most of them we've already done, by the way, but that's okay because people didn't know. And the people that took the time to say, try this, here's what I thought of, thank you. Because it's so easy to say, oh, you shouldn't do it, oh, you should do something else. It takes a lot of time and effort to come up with an idea, and our budget is so complicated and so arcane, it's not surprising that somebody didn't know, but the fact that they made the effort, and I even had a student in our district come forward and submit a letter making suggestions on ways to save money. That's outstanding. That's better than, out of the 15 or so emails I got, one student, and I got 14 others. I got a lot of people saying, don't do this, save that. And I understand. None of us want to be doing this. Okay? We don't want to cut. Yeah, sorry. As much as I'd like to, we can. For the people that may be watching this later, there have been a couple of indications about somebody to make comments or speak, and we're past public speaking, so that's what the comment was about. So, as much as we understand the impact of eliminating the counseling program, we had 2 choices. We had to find programs that would meet the budgetary and fiduciary responsibilities that we have been given by the state of California and the county of San Bernardino, or we cannot meet our fiduciary responsibilities and the state's going to do it anyhow. It's not something we want to do. So I mean, if I stop blaming Sacramento for not having the money, okay, fine. We don't have the money wherever it comes from. We still have the same problem, whoever you want to blame for the fact that we don't have the money. We've cut budget for 5 years. The district has already absorbed $30 million in budget cuts. And the nice thing is all of the people that have written us emails have done so because most of the cuts we've made have been invisible to parents and students, most of them. They've even been invisible to some degree to employees of our district. Not all, but there have been a lot of cuts in order to take $30 million out of our budget. When we finally are in the situation we're in, we're kind of out of options. I'd love to have heard about them. You know, we've had between February and now, you know, it's like in February we said we're going to do this. You know, where were the specific suggestions for saving money that would save us $10 million a year over the next 2 years? Okay? Things about saving a couple $100,000 here and there, those were great, and every little bit helps. And that's fine. I appreciate the suggestions. But we have a $10 million a year problem over the next 2 years, the way we're forced to budget, the way we're forced to project our future in an environment that's as changeable as the air molecules circulating around us. I mean, it changes so fast and so quickly. We're forced to make a cut in time, do the best we can, and hope we can find some improvement. So I dislike this. If I could be a responsible board member and vote no, I would. That'll end my comments.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Roscoe?
I have two questions and then a comment, and actually